Lovely. We're live.
Hello, good afternoon to all our viewers and listeners this afternoon. This is the voice of the office of the member of Parliament for Point Fortin, the Honourable Kennedy Richards Jr., in collaboration with the Business Lifeline Ltd, with the Booster program on our entrepreneurship workshop. Monday we had an excellent program. Sorry, Tuesday, I believe it was. Yes, Tuesday. We had an excellent program where we had the business starter. For those who want to start a business, those who are thinking, I believe on Tuesday we would have established a sturdy foundation, and today we are building on it. Today we are building the building blocks when it comes to actually expanding and boosting our business idea. You might have a business, you might have a small business, you might have a as we call it in Trinidad, a small thing at the side, you know, that we want to expand and we don't know how to. But today we have with us a very distinguished guest with us, the CEO and Chief Consultant of Business Lifeline, Miss Nicole Cupid, who comes with years of experience in the field of entrepreneurship. And we would like you to come on board, come in the inside. If you have other friends, if you have other business people who you think that this could work with, bring them on, because this is good information that you can take to carry the business forward. So I would take the time and I wouldn't keep us waiting and keep you excited and and take away the show from Miss Cupid, but I would allow Nicole to come on and, of course, carry the business going forward. So, again, this is brought to you in collaboration with the MP 4.14, Mr. Kennedy Richards Jr., and the Business Lifeline Limited, here with the booster, the business booster. With those few words, I hand you over to Miss Nicole Cupid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sandy. And it is indeed a pleasure for me to be out here again today to be able to share some amazing information with you guys. I think we had a fantastic session on Tuesday for the Business Starter Program. And today's program is geared a little bit more to persons who are already trained in terms of entrepreneurship and looking for ways to boost their business. I'm seeing I have company from last Tuesday. So, guys, we welcome you all as people are logging in. Of course, we want this session to be as interactive and beneficial to you as possible. So, what we would like is that you can, as we are proceeding, uh, stick your comments in the chat and your questions. Now, we are going to step along the way to respond to your questions, but I don't want you to forget them at all. So I want you to stick your questions in as we go along, and definitely that we will respond at the appropriate time within the program. So let me give you a little bit about today's program and what you can expect. Of course, we want to give a lot of credit to Point Fortin's MP, Mr. Kennedy Richards Jr., for making this program possible today and really being so enthusiastic to support the needs of his constituents by giving them the tools that they need in order to succeed. Because certainly we do appreciate that the government can't do this on their own, right? And of course, we want to be able to find the self-sufficiency that we need, and you can definitely achieve that through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship being such a powerful vehicle that it doesn't just bring self sufficiency to the individual, but it also provides employment for others. It improves the general society. So it is definitely one of the most amazing things that you can embark on in terms of your lifetime. So if you're still sitting on the fence, if you're still unsure, let me encourage you today that you would definitely want to get involved in terms of entrepreneurship and providing meaningful value to the society. So, in today's program, we're going to be touching on a few areas, which are, identifying viable business opportunities, um, preparing for growth and expansion. We're going to be looking at allocation of our very scarce resources and managing them, how we can develop operational efficiencies, and how you can embark on marketing your business. So we have a good bit of stuff to cover, but like I said, any questions, any comments, feel free to put it in the chat as we go along, and I will most certainly address it for you. So today I am your presenter. I am Nicole Joseph Cupid. I am the CEO of Business Lifeline Ltd and also a business development consultant. So I have been, dedicating myself towards the growth and development of businesses for a long time. So I started off in the corporate environment and subsequently migrated full time into entrepreneurship because I've always been an entrepreneur. Fresh out of school, I started on my own business whilst working. So I have both the corporate experience and the entrepreneurial experience. I am the holder of an MBA in marketing management. I'm qualified in accounting and law. So I'm pretty well rounded in terms of business and entrepreneurial interests. Yes? Enough about me there. Let's move on. So let's talk a little bit about Business Lifeline. I'm excited about that because Business Lifeline was really founded to be a one-stop shop for all of your business needs. So if we look at entrepreneurship and the people who engage in entrepreneurship, we will appreciate that a lot of people start their own businesses, but they're not really the qualified persons in the study of business. And that's a normal phenomenon throughout the world. So essentially, people start their businesses and they have little deficiencies and challenges that they need to plug and address, but they may not have the expertise in-house to do it. So Business Lifeline really aims to support entrepreneurs in these particular areas where they may not be experts to help them get the job done. So we support you in terms of getting your business registrations done, setting up your bank accounts, doing BIR and NIS setups. We're excellent in terms of business plan development, accounting, taxation, your marketing, advertising. We do coaching and mentorship. And of course, a lot of people know us very much for entrepreneurial training programs, which are well designed and dedicated towards providing you with not just information, but giving you the practical skills that when you finish, you can go out there and make some meaningful changes and see results in the operation of your business. Right? So today, like we said, we are addressing or we're focusing in terms of persons who may have their business operational. So prior to the COVID pandemic, there are a lot of people who had businesses operating and they were doing fairly well. And then out of nowhere, the pandemic came and it shattered a lot of businesses in terms of how they would have operated previously. Some of them would have lost their markets for different reasons. And you come to the point now where you're saying to yourself, how can I identify new opportunities? Now, of course, you don't have to wait for something like the COVID pandemic to hit for you to spend time looking at identifying opportunities. So you identify opportunities when you're starting your business, but that is an ongoing process that you must engage in if you are ever going to find business success, right? So you will need most certainly to focus your time and your energies in terms of seeing where the market is going and seeing what new opportunities may present themselves for you so that your business can continuously grow. So when we talk about business development, that's what we're focusing on. Where are the opportunities? What are the new trends? What are the things that are opening up that you can capitalize on and you're able to grow your business? So when we're talking identifying opportunities, you want to appreciate that an entrepreneur's greatest asset is his mind or her mind. Yes, that is the greatest asset that you have as an entrepreneur. Not the money in your bank account, not your connections, not any of the physical things that you may have in your building, but actually your mind, because success begins and it ends in your mind. An entrepreneur has the unique ability to see things that others do not see. Now, of course, entrepreneurs tend to get very frustrated from time to time because they see an opportunity and they seek to share it with other people, and other people can't see the opportunity that they are seeing. Now, that's called the curse of leadership. Yes, and leadership means that you are able to see beyond what your followers can see. That's why you're a leader, right? So your greatest asset is that of your mind, and you have to now train your mind. You now have to work your mind effectively in order to ensure that you get the maximum value out of your mind. Now, using your mind, you're going to start this opportunity identification process by asking yourself, what is it that customers want or the market wants that they're not currently getting? That is the foundation of you being able to find a space or a gap within a market where you can go in and earn income. That's an opportunity for you to be able to earn. So people tend to think of where opportunities, what's the latest trend? What is the fascinating thing now? But what you would discover is that there are opportunities in every single sphere of the market. But many opportunities are being missed because people are waiting for the opportunity to put on a neon light and say, here I am, as opposed to them going out, looking at the market and establishing what are the problems or the desires, unfulfilled desires in the particular market, and addressing them. Now, you don't have to go very far to find opportunities. Yes. So you may be living in a community. So look how easily opportunity presented itself in terms of the COVID pandemic. A lot of people complain, listen, things change. We couldn't do things the way that we wanted to do them before. But then the opportunity arose for a lot of people who were able to deliver products or services in a mobile manner. So that created new opportunities for them, and it has created opportunities for some businesses that were previously really, really small to be able to expand. Now, that is an opportunity. Now, if you look at it, people still have needs and desires. So some people come and they complain, listen, business is really, really, really slow. But I'm asking you the question, is the particular business or area of business that you're operating in, is there still a need for it? And if there is still a need for that particular type of business, it means that you now have to look for the opportunities and you now have to pivot and redesign your operations so that you could fulfill the new needs of the market. And that is exactly what has to happen now. So no longer can we sit and be comfortable to say we're going to do things the way we always used to do it, because we got comfortable doing that and we didn't look for potential new ways of doing things. So let's just look at how we're using technology now. All business people have been forced to embrace technology, or your business would simply be left behind. That's as simple as it is. People are selling as simple as plants on the internet and doing so successfully. So it gave new opportunity to people who may not have been able to reach a very wide market before, for them to be able to expand their reach through the internet. So previously, you would have been restricted to just the people who are within a certain proximity of your business, or people who may know you and come and look for your business. But now, thanks to the internet, you can reach people anywhere in the world, anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago. And now courier services are quite efficient. So someone from Rosilac, for example, can make a purchase from someone in Santa Cruz and be able to collect their items via a courier service within 24 to 48 hours. That's the power and that's the opportunity that has been placed in people's hands. But if you look at it, you'd appreciate that that opportunity existed even before COVID, but people weren't looking for it. Or some people did and they were doing it. And of course, now because the public is more aware of it, more people are purchasing online, and that has widened the opportunity for most folks, right? So essentially, when you're looking for opportunities to expand your business, you have to start by looking at the problems that people have or the desires that they have that have not yet been fulfilled. So I want us to look at what is the reason or what are the factors that influence people to buy. Because sometimes entrepreneurs go away believing that persons are simply there to purchase the product that they're handing them, the physical product or the service. But really and truly, if you examine it, what people are actually buying when they make a purchase are one of these things on the list here. It's either they're paying for convenience, they're paying for some sort of saving, they're looking at aesthetics, their pride, their esteem. Some things are mandatory requirements. So even though you didn't want to buy it, you have no choice but to buy it. People are looking for things that will give them simplification in their life or things that will improve the quality of their life. That's what you're selling. So for a lot of our customers, we sell them convenience, we sell them savings, we sell them simplification. So things that they would have been really complicated for them to do themselves, we simplify it because they can just outsource it to us. We get it done. They have no complications. You pay, you get your service delivered to you. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And of course, for us, we focus very much on giving them a higher quality service than they would have gotten even if they did it themselves, right? So you must understand as a business person what exactly it is you're selling. What is it that people are looking for when they come to do business with you? This will help you as well in the identification process, because you will now start looking at opportunities that exist where you can provide additional convenience for customers. So instead of customers coming to you, you can provide them a service that is more convenient. So you take the service to them, right? You're taking your business closer to your target market. In terms of savings, you may find ways that you can do things or products that you can provide to customers that are more cost effective than it would have been previously for them. So that's an opportunity for you. Of course, we know that people are very, very vain sometimes. So we like to look good. We want to feel good. We want others to tell us that we're good. So you need to appreciate that people are looking for stuff that will help them in terms of improving their aesthetics, improving their pride, their esteem. All of these things are very, very, very important. And welcome to all the additional folks who are joining us now. Thank you very much for being a part of the program with us today. Yes? And of course, you have your mandatory requirements. So, who would have ever thought that, buying a mask would have been something that we would be doing at this stage in our lives, right? I mean, now we're allowed to go to the bank with a mask on, when previously that would have been completely unthinkable, right? So, some things you have to purchase just simply because it's mandatory, right? So, you can look at the things that have a mandatory demand to it. And there may be an opportunity there for you as well because people have to have it. Now, I want to stick a pin on that because sometimes that could lead to a little bit of confusion. So, for example, people have to have food, but it does not mean that they have to have food from you, right? So you have to make sure that even if something is mandatory, you have to take the time to evaluate whether or not there's sufficient demand from it, or sorry, demand for it from you, right? So I hope this kind of gives you a little bit of a wider scope as to how you can start identifying opportunities. So you may decide, listen, I have a really good skill as it relates to cooking, and I want to get into the food market. But the food market is a saturated market. Everybody, tend to think it's very easy to get into food, and because there's a high demand for food, okay, I'm going to get it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to look for somewhere to rent on the sidewalk to be able to trade your goods, because now there's a high demand for people who may not have, say, for example, easy mobility. And this is an area that a lot of people don't think about. We have a lot of people in our society, in our population, that have mobility restrictions, and their family members are out all day, maybe working, have other commitments and stuff like that, and they also need to eat. There's an opportunity there where you can provide convenience and support to their families by providing, proper dietary solutions for them, because everybody good at fast food. But what about the people who need to eat a healthy diet? Trinidad is well known in terms of our numbers for diabetes and hypertension, but who's taking the time to see the opportunity to provide meals specific for these people? If you're vegetarian, I wish you luck trying to find a well balanced meal as a vegetarian on the average day. Because again, people are not seeing the opportunities to provide solutions for these groups. So, these are some of the things that you can look at. It means that you get to look at things differently. You get to um, be creative and innovative so that you can provide meaningful solutions for the market. So, like I said, opportunities are realized by being creative. So, sometimes you make something from scratch, it's all unique, it's all you, or sometimes you're required to be innovative. So, you can take something that existed before and amend it, edit it, and make it even better. Yes. So consultants have been on the market forever. But I would like to think that Business Lifeline has innovated the way that we do consultancy services, and being able to provide a meaningful solution to the market that didn't exist before, by innovating how consultancy services were delivered, right? So I'm sure the opportunity exists for you. And of course, feel free, like I said, stick your questions, stick your comments in. You may be in a particular industry and, you're not sure what opportunities may exist in that particular industry. You can feel free to chat and ask your questions as we go along. Now, of course, one of the things that we need to understand is that every business is challenged with managing very limited resources. So you want to be able to capitalize on opportunities and you want to be able to grow your business. But in order to expand the business, you have to be able to invest in the business. And a lot of people struggle in terms of that investment aspect because I don't have much money available to me now. Things real tight right now. How can I manage my limited resources to grow them? So I want to say to you guys that management of your business and even growing and developing of your business is really a cycle, an ongoing cycle. It never, ever, ever stops. But you have to make sure that all elements of the cycle are being focused on as you go along. So you always start with planning. And if you were on the session on Tuesday, you would know and understand the importance of planning in business. Now, the fact of the matter is, I'm sure if we were to do a poll now, a lot of us on the program today may have just started our business without a plan. Now, I'm not accusing anybody, but I will say that I did it quite a few times myself, and I learned the hard way that that is really not a very good thing to do. Because certainly you are not going to go outside one morning and say, I am going out. I am going out. I don't know where I'm going, but I am just going out here, and wherever I end up going to be good. Nobody's going to do that because it's absurd. However, it's not so obvious sometimes that that is exactly what you're doing in your business when you seek to operate your business without a plan. Yes? So you know what you want to do. You have an idea. You know you want to go out, but you're not exactly sure. It's not clear as to what is the destination you're going to. So, like I shared with the participants on Tuesday, when you define that you have decided, or when you decided that you're going to go into business, the next thing that you need to do is to define exactly what you want that business to do for you. And then you need to quantify it. Quantify it to say, this is the amount that this business needs to earn for me, right? And when you do that, when you start with the planning aspect and you quantify it, that quantification is called your budget. A lot of business owners have no idea what their budgets are. So they're not operating with a budget. Listen, I spending money based on what I receive, right? Okay, I'm seeing someone commenting that you're not seeing the screen clearly. I'm not sure what's causing that. It may be a little bit of latency on the internet connection. But can anybody else let me know if you're seeing it clearly or not? I am going to touch on what each of the points are, though, in the event that you're not seeing it. So the first point on the cycle is for you to start with planning and budgeting. So like I said, if we're going to put that into simple, practical terms, that is to say to you that you need to know what the business is seeking to accomplish, or what you're seeking to accomplish through the business, and then you need to quantify it. So don't just say, well, I'm seeking to make money, right? We make that mistake all the time. I'm seeking to make money. I want to make plenty of money. But how much money is plenty money to you, right? That will differ from one person to the other, but you need to quantify how much plenty money is, because when you quantify that, then you know you can set a budget and you can now start allocating your business resources in order to achieve what it is you're hoping to achieve for the business. So I'm thinking it may be an internet connectivity issue, because some people are seeing and some people are not seeing. And it's quite clear on our end. So I am just begging you guys to just be a little bit patient. It may be something with the internet, right? But I am going to call it out for you. So step one is planning and budgeting. And then once you've established your plan, once you've established your budget, the next thing that you start to do in the process is allocating your resources. So what am I going to do with the resources that I have? Of course, we know we always have limitations in terms of our resources. So some things we have to juggle, some things we got to be very careful with. But one of the most important things is if you are not properly, if you don't have a budget and you don't have a clear plan, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for you to be able to properly allocate your resources. So, what is going to happen is that you're going to find yourself in a position where you are going to be losing or wasting money in some areas, and other areas where you need the money, you don't have the money to put it, right? So, a budget helps you to eliminate that blind side. Now, of course, we have a way of doing things in Trinidad that's quite peculiar sometimes, right? But I've always known, and I'm telling you guys, there's a secret. I mean, although I'm saying it on the internet, is a secret. Don't tell everybody, right? But I've always known that you're supposed to have a budget. And so I always used to have a budget. I am doing my budget religiously every month. I wrote it down. I had a book to write the budget in every single month. And I really don't think that my budget changed much from one month to the other. But every single month, religiously, I am writing this budget down because that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm doing the thing the right way. Now, here's the problem with that. I never really, well, I did try to follow the budget because I had it in my head mentally. But essentially, I never went back to the budget to see whether or not I spent what I intended to spend. And in true Trini fashion, it was nowhere close to what I intended to spend. So I'm not saying that everybody's as delinquent as me, but I'm saying I'm sure I'm not lonely in that regard, that sometimes we put a budget down. We put it down because in principle, we know that we should be doing it, but we're not actually using it to guide our day-to-day activities, and then we get no benefit from it, right? So your budget and your plan is supposed to guide you in terms of allocating your resources. And of course, then you have to start operating. So you have to do what you say you were going to do, monitoring and putting safeguards in place to ensure that you don't pass and see a red and white seal sign anywhere and deviate from your budget and forget what you were going to do, right? And the last step before you go back to planning again is in terms of doing an evaluation. And that's where it's very important for you. You have a budget can't stand by itself. You have to keep the daily records that says this is what I actually did. So sometimes you would spend less than what you plan to spend, and that's great. And you want to take note of those things because it means that if you can see where you're making savings, you may be able to reallocate your resources so that you can get more savings, right? And of course, there are instances more often than not where you spend more money than you were intending to. And you need to be able to identify these areas as well so that you know where you need to cut back and you can now become a lot more efficient in the operation of your business. Now, I want us to all remember that this is a business we're operating, right? It's not a walk in the park, it's not by guess. You have to be focused and structured if you want to get good, positive results for your business. I'm going to say to you as well, you cannot manage what you do not measure. So I'm not picking on you guys for not keeping good records. But I am emphasizing and re-emphasizing to you that if you are not keeping good records for your business, I can guarantee you you're losing money and not even know, right? So your business would be hemorrhaging and you will not know because you're going to be spending money in areas where You don't necessarily need to spend it, or you don't need to necessarily spend as much. And other areas that require attention, you won't have the resources to give it the attention because you're spending the money, or the money is hemorrhaging from somewhere else where it's not really a priority, right? So measurements and focus will help you to prioritize your stuff properly so that you get the best possible results. So keeping your business records is essential, 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 essential to your business success. You're not going to be able to grow your business. You're not going to be very successful in business if you do not have good records. You're going to get to a certain level and then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck there. And then from that point, you're just going to go into decline, which is not what you want for all the sacrificing that you would have done to get to that point. So I'm saying to you, when you're thinking, listen, I want to grow my business, you have to be able to very easily see what's going on in your business. So you want to ensure that you're updating your journals on a daily basis. And what is your journal? A journal is like a financial diary. What money did I spend? What money did I receive? Of course, all businesses, no matter the size of your business, you are required to keep proper records in terms of your income and outflows, right? So very often entrepreneurs think, well, the bank tell me I need to provide a 3-year cash flow. And that's the only thing that a cash flow is used for. And that is so inaccurate. Yeah. A cash flow is of a million times more value to you, the entrepreneur, than it is to the bank. Yes, the bank just wants to have some transparency and clarity, and they can anticipate what are some of the things that you would need. But for you, your cash flow can guide you in terms of the success of what you're trying to achieve. So maintaining those journals and your daily records that says this is what I had coming in and this is what I have going out can very well help you in terms of ensuring that your business is as efficient and effective as possible. Now, you don't have to be an accountant, right? We always talk about making sure that we keep things simple. You do not have to be an accountant in order to achieve this objective. As simple as you having a notebook where every day you note what is your daily balances, what you started with in the bank, what you started with in cash. This is what I'm starting the day with. Then this is what I received for today. This is what I spent today, and this is what I have left over for tomorrow. Every single day, those basic steps you should have covered. You must know, no matter what size of business that you have, how much money you gained on a daily basis, how much money you spent on a daily basis. And you definitely want to know exactly what you spent it on. So just as a quick tip, for sometimes, I know it can be tedious. Sometimes you may have good intentions to write it down, but you were on the road, you spent some money, you were stuck in traffic, you buy some snacks in traffic or water or something, and you forgot to record the spending. Or you reach home and you can't remember what you're spending money on. That's me. So what I can encourage you to do as well, now we all have smartphones. If you have an Android phone, what you can do is go to the Play Store and look for the mobile wallet. It's a let me just I'll tell you the name of it so that right. It's called the Spending Tracker, and it is illustrated by a orange wallet, right? The tracker is a very, very efficient tool that will help you to keep track of all of what you spent and what money that you receive. Makes it very quick and easy for you while you're along the way, right? So I want to encourage you guys that it may be something that you'd want to consider to make the process a lot easier for you, right? So we're talking about business opportunities, and we're talking about how you can scale your business or grow your business. So from the time you hear the term scale, you know it's growing the business. And the first step in that process, again, is for you to have a clear strategy. A clear strategy. And once you hear that word strategy, strategy is not something that's for today, for tomorrow. A strategy indicates clearly that it is a long term plan. So, for business purposes, when you hear the word strategy, you're thinking minimum 3 years, 36 months, nothing less than that, right? So, you have to start to extend your vision, like me, yeah, extend your vision. You have to get that long range vision, because if you're still planning today for next month, for the next 3 months, and you don't know what you're supposed to be achieving in your business in the next 24 months, or if I ask you 27 months from now, what are your targets? You have no clue. Then I'm saying to you, you got to go back to the drawing board and you got to get this right. So, month by month, for the next 36 months, you should know very clearly what should be happening in your business, how much money you should have in hand by then, so that you have a very, very clear plan and strategy as to what you're going to be doing, right? So, your strategy will help you to define how you're going to go about achieving the objectives and the targets that you set for your business. That's the how. So you know what you're trying to do, you know who you're trying to reach, and we're going to talk about the who a little later on, because your marketing is tied to the who. It's all about the who, right? But your strategy tells you what you're going to do to accomplish what you set out to accomplish. Of course, you need to have an income generating plan. Yeah. So you can't just say, I want to make money. You have to have a clear plan that says how I'm going to make the money. And sometimes we don't have a clear plan for it. So we know what we're going to charge, but we don't know how we're going to really get that money. What are the things that we need to put in place to ensure that we are able to collect that money, that we're efficient and stuff like that. And you don't want to be in a position where you're running a business and you have to go and meet people by the street corner or the police station or the mall to collect your money and stuff like that, right? So you want to make sure that you understand how you're going to collect your money, making sure that you have the systems in place to collect your money efficiently. And of course, like I said, you want to sell convenience to your customers. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them to give you their money, right? Of course, you want to make sure that you have a good financial management system. And your financial management system would include all of your daily records, right? So you need to be consistent with your daily records, not you record today, you forget tomorrow, that kind of thing. You want to be consistent with it. Now, you know, the old people used to say, out of sight, out of mind. It is such a true state, such a true saying. And I want to challenge you guys, all of you participants on the program this evening, and those of you who would view the recording. I want to challenge you. Start writing your income daily. And just do that. I'm not asking you to do anything else. Just start writing how much you earned, how much you spend daily, and tell me how your pattern changes. From the time you put it in view, I can guarantee you will stop spending as much money as you spend. Even if you're not spending wastefully at this point in time, your spending pattern, I can guarantee you, will change. And you become a lot more focused on how you can increase your income. And you're doing this just from simply raising your awareness of your daily position. So I'm challenging you guys to go out there and try it. And of course, you can feel free at any point in time through any of our social media platforms to give us some feedback as to how it impacted you. And I can guarantee you that it is going to lead to a change in your spending behavior. I'm yet to challenge any group and get a different response, right? So your financial management system must be consistent. It must uh, include good accountability, right? So, you don't want to be running a business. Sometimes you have employees, but you have no proper accountability. So you can't track whether or not what your employee says to you is happening is really what happens. So sometimes you have people who sell food, for example, and they don't know how to track, if the employee said, well, I sold 20 lunches today, they don't have the appropriate mechanisms in place to know that the employees sell 40 and they kept 20 for themselves and gave 20 to you, right? So you want to make sure that you have the systems in place that would allow proper accountability as well as transparency, right? So it's easy. Anybody can understand what's going on. And transparency is also very important for the banking side of things, for your taxation side of things. Of course, that, it reflects good integrity in terms of how you do business, and what you're doing is in compliance to proper accounting standards, right? So those are all very important to you in terms of when you're putting together a strategy in order to grow your business. Now, a good strategy will definitely have the following elements, which is a comprehensive plan. You will have clearly defined objectives. And of course, based on what we shared in the last program, we know that we want to have SMART objectives. So they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, right? Just to repeat that again, you want objectives that are specific. No general things like I want to make money, I want to grow my business, I want to make more money than last year. Those are not specific. I want to make $150,000. I want to make $1 million. I want to make $3.5 million. That is specific. And not just the amount, but what time frame, because we said it must be time bound, right? So you don't want to take your whole lifetime to make the $3.5 million. You want to make it in the next 3 years. So over the next 3 years, I want to earn $3.5 million in income. Of course, you have to have targets. So you want to do that in 3 years, but in order to do it in 3 years, you now have to work backwards and break it down. How much do I need to make each year? If I have to make this amount each year, how much do I need to make each month to make this amount each year so that I can make this amount in 3 years, right? So it needs to be structured, and you start to put targets in place so that by the week, by the month, by the quarter, by the year, what I need to do in order to achieve my long-term objective in 3 years. And of course, your action plan would tell you how you intend to achieve it. So what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, who you're going to talk to, what are the resources that you need, and everything that must be included in there for you to have a good growth strategy. Of course, one of the very important things to you in terms of growing your business is operational efficiency. And to define that for you in a business context, operational efficiency is a measurement of your resource allocation. So remember, we talk about after you plan and you budget, the next thing you had to do was to allocate your resources. So if you want to know how well you were allocating your resources, of course, it is defined as the ratio between output gain and how much money you had to put in order to run the business, right? So you can't be putting more in than you are getting out of it. Then that's not good resource allocations at all. So you want to make sure that what you're putting into the business, right, and a proper account of what you're putting into the business, not just what you think you want to measure, right? Because a lot of business people keep pumping money into their business and not keeping records of it. So they don't know exactly how much money they have put into the business, so that they can effectively compare it with what the business has been able to produce to know whether or not they're being operationally effective, right? So when improving operational efficiency, the output to input ratio improves. So you get more out of the business than the money that you have to put in. Very important. Now, here are some examples of things that you can do in order to reduce your operational costs. So you want to make the business more efficient. You want to look at your business and you want to think, what are the areas that I can look at that will help me to make my business more efficient? Here are some of the things that you can do. So first things first, look at the things that you can do using technology rather than using labor, right? Labor is significantly more expensive than technology. And as we know, I mean, technology has advanced and evolved significantly in the last couple of years. And there's just about there aren't many things that you can even consider impossible at this stage as it relates to technology, right? So, um, technology is one of the first places that you can invest in terms of reducing your operational costs. And if I were to give an example, there was a process that we needed to do some years ago. And the first thing that came to mind for me, that was in the early days of the operation of the business, was that we should hire someone to do the process, right? So I needed someone to track information, move it from one system to the next system, so that we could have been able to facilitate our customers' requests. So it was a good, legitimate thing that needed to be done. But my solution for doing it was to pay an additional salary to get that done, because none of the people that were in the employ at the point in time would have been free to get it done. That turned out to be a very bad idea. Fortunately, of course, from time to time, I would review what we're doing. So maybe about 6 months later, so that was 6 months' salary later, I am looking at some technological options that were available. And whilst I was paying a couple $1,000s to get this particular job done, I was able to find a piece of technology that was able to do it for less than 20 US a month for me. Now, you see the significant difference in terms of spending there. I mean, a salary versus $20 US a month, I was happily paying the $20 US and have a piece of software that was doing it automatically for me. It was far more accurate than actually having someone sit there and do it. It was a lot faster than having someone do it, because it would do it 24/7. So even while I'm sleeping, it wasn't just that when somebody comes to work, they'll get the task done. I was able to automate the task fully. So whether people messaged or whatever it is during the course of the night, the process would have gone through seamlessly without me having to get involved or having a physical person get involved. And I mean, it was 99% cheaper than paying someone to get it done, right? So technology is definitely one of the areas that you can look at in terms of reducing your operational costs so that you can get your profits to increase. You don't want to be spending bad money on good things, but it's not good things to the business at that point in time, right? Of course, you can also outsource non essential processes. So, for example, things like managing your accounts. You may not be an expert at accounting. That's something you want to outsource because it may not be your competency, so you may not be able to do it to the level that it should be done. And then it's going to take you so much longer to get it done. So it's distracting you from actually being able to make money. You're focusing your time and resources on it, and it's not going to generate an income for you. It's just an expense. So if you have processes within your business that are not essential in terms of generating income, then those are some of the processes that you can look at that you can outsource, and it will probably cost you a lot less than you trying to manage that process in the business itself, right? So that's something as a smaller business that you should look at, so that, again, you can reduce your costs and increase your profits. Now, I don't want to get all technical with this one, but I want to explain it as simply as possible, which is you should be able to map. And when we say map, you take a pen and you start to, document every single process in your business. So when a customer comes to your business, what is the process that happens when they give an order? So first step, speak to agent at front desk. The agent at the front desk will source whatever they're looking for. When they source it, they provide the customer with pricing. Customer agrees with the pricing, you generate an invoice. Who has to generate the invoice? Where it has to go? How it's going to be done? Who collects the payment on the invoice, when it has to be collected? Then who delivers the item? What happens when the item is delivered to the customer? What needs to be done? What records need to be kept to finish that transaction? So you map that out. So it helps you to clearly identify any breaches. Now, once you've done that, who's going to verify at the end of the day? What is the process for the verification? All these different things. How every single process in your business, you should have it mapped very clearly so that you can identify any inefficiencies that you have and correct them. Another way that you can save money very easily, right? And it can also help you to increase your income by identifying some of your inefficiencies, because then it means if you can eliminate an inefficiency, you can serve your customers better and faster and possibly make more income. You also want to pay your bills on time. Late payments, extra fees, these are things that are going to increase your operational costs, right? So you want to make sure that you're focusing on paying your bills on time. And of course, another one that could cost you a lot of money, cancel any unused services. So for example, in my business, I have a lot of online subscriptions because of the different things that we do. And sometimes we subscribe for a service, we were using the service. We're no longer using the service because we got it specific for a particular client that we had at the point in time. And we stopped using the service and we're still paying. It's still billing to our credit card every single month because we're not taking the time to go back and cancel off these services. So that's a way where you can end up spending a lot of money. So it might be a 25, 30 US a month, or maybe less. But for 12 months that happened and you didn't pay any attention to it, that significant amount of money that could have been spent somewhere else that could have generated income for you rather than you spending it on something that you're getting no value for. So that ends the first section as it relates to identifying opportunities, allocating your resources, and looking at operational efficiency. So the next thing that we're going to be going into is looking at how you market or promote your business. But I really want to stop at this point. I'm not seeing too many questions just yet, but I know there was a question earlier on, so I'm going to answer that. And you can feel free to type your questions while I'm responding to this one. So Leanne Joseph asks, what are the challenges when opening a business? There are many challenges when you're now opening a business. But what I can say to you in terms of mitigating a lot of the challenges when you're opening a business, you have to plan. A lot of the challenges that you encounter is because people do not plan properly for opening their business. So you can't just decide, listen, I'm going to open a business. I'm all excited. I'm going to open a business. If you don't get all the relevant information beforehand and take the time to make your decisions based on information, you are most likely to run into troubles. Now, generally speaking, the process is simple once you know what you're doing. So once you get all the relevant information, you shouldn't have any major challenges there. The registration process is quite straightforward and easy. Well, I might say so because we do it every day, but for somebody else, they may consider it a pain. But the registration process, you get your registration done, you get your bank account set up, and you should be on your way to executing your business plan. Of course, you have to get your registration, so like BIR and NIS and these stuff done, but it's mostly procedural. So once you know what you need to get done, you should have little to no challenges in terms of getting it done. Of course, persons may also argue that getting funding as a new business can be very challenging. Definitely, that's one of the things that you want to be mindful of. How am I going to fund the setup of my business? Because nobody is going to just give you money just like that to start your business. So you have to have a very clear plan as it relates to getting your business started and where you're going to get the money to do so, right? Any other questions, guys? Why no questions today? At least some feedback. I'm getting a little bit worried. No questions, no feedback. Anybody out there still? I'm seeing you guys online, so can you just give me a little bit of feedback so that I know you're there and whether or not the information is of use and value to you at this point in time? All right. So, how much money do I need to accumulate for a first-time business owner? That depends entirely on what type of business you're going into, right? So there is no universal response to that one to say, well, you could start a business with $20,000 or $30,000. There's no response, there's no generic response to that one. But what I can guide you and suggest to you, when you put your plan together and you know, listen, this is what it's going to cost me to set this business up. Because like I said, you always start with a plan and a budget. If the budget says my business is going to cost me 100,000, then essentially you need to have a minimum of 20,000 of your own in order to get that process started, right? Because nobody is going to fund you 100% to get your business going. So you need to accumulate at least 20% of what the entire value of starting your business will be in order to just get going, right? So I hope that helps. Well, I'm feeling a little bit better now that you're saying that it's good, valid information. So I am happy to hear that. I feel a little bit more energized now as we go into the next session. Or section, sorry, but feel free to keep putting your info or your questions, your feedback, so that I can see how we're doing. So marketing your business, this is where I get all excited. How do you let people know that you have something good for them, right? Now, here's the thing with marketing. I am certain that A lot of people don't actually know what marketing is. Thank you very much for that feedback, Melissa. Right? A lot of people don't know exactly what marketing is. And the reason for that is in Trinidad and Tobago, and I think worldwide, it's not just Trinidad. People use marketing and advertising as a synonym. They think it's one and the same, but it is two completely different things. So, hopefully, today I'm going to give you a much better insight on what exactly is marketing. So, I'm going to try and break it down as simple as possible. So, it says that marketing is the management process through which goods and services move from concept to customer. Now, in that very little line there, that dispels the whole concept that we have of marketing being an ad that you put out after you have created a product or you're ready to deliver that product to your customer. You see, marketing begins from the time you decided to start a business. And that's what people do not understand. Marketing is not what you do after you've started the business and have a product in hand. If you're doing that, then you're looking at advertising and you really have not approached the process the way that you should do it in order to get the maximum value for your business. So, marketing includes the coordination of four key elements, which is the identification, selection, and development of a product. So, how we do it? Listen, I have access to this product, or I could produce this product, and I am going to bring this product to the market. We don't approach it from what is it that the market is looking for that I can provide. That's a completely different approach, and you get completely different results. Yes, and income. So, if you want to increase your income, you want to start with the approach that says, let me understand what people are looking for, and I'll always get paid higher if I could deliver what they're looking for, as opposed to me delivering what I could give. There's a big difference, right? Of course, marketing will also help you in terms of the determination of price. What price would the market be willing and able to pay for my product? That's the definition of demand. You must have a desire, a willingness, and ability to pay for a product or service at a given price. So, good marketing will help you to determine what is the best price that you can offer your products and services to the market that would allow you to make your targets and your objectives and a meaningful markup while still satisfying the market's needs at the price they're willing to pay for it. So sometimes you have a lot of goods to supply, but people are not buying it. And a simple shift of your price point could put you in a much better position, because sometimes entrepreneurs approach pricing as, let me charge you as much as I could possibly charge you to maximize profit. But that's a real dated way of looking at it, because there are lots of businesses that take the opposite model. Let's look at Rattans, for example. Most trainees know about the Rattan company. And of course, Rattan's or strategy is a little bit different. They provide lower price items, but they're able to turn over very large volumes and still make a good income, right? So making a good income doesn't necessarily have to translate into charging a high price, right? So you need to make sure that you're using the appropriate pricing strategy for the particular customers that you are trying to attract or serve. Then it will help you to select a distribution channel to reach your customer wherever they are, right? So whether you're selling from a physical brick and mortar model or you're selling online, or which of the options, how you're able to deliver your services to your customers. If you're a service provider like we are, you have to know how you're going to be able, what distribution channels you're going to use. So today, YouTube is a distribution channel for us in terms of being able to disseminate information to potential customers. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I am seeing some crying, Cindy Ann. I apologize, but I'm covering all the information for you because I'm not too sure why you're not seeing it clearly, right? I apologize to you sincerely, right? But your marketing will help you to identify what are the best distribution streams to reach the people that you want to reach. And it will also help in terms of the development and implementation of a promotional strategy. So we finally reached the advertising. But what you notice is that the marketing actually comes before the advertising, right? It's very important for you to understand that. So marketing versus advertising. Marketing refers to the strategies, the plans, the I can't think of another word for strategy there. But the action plan that you have and preparation you do to get your product or service ready to sell and identifying the target customers for your product or service. That's marketing. But advertising is the process of promoting, just promoting that product or service to the marketplace, right? So if you do really good promotion, you put out a real good marketing campaign, you put out a real good advertising campaign, all the fancy colors, pretty pictures and everything, and you did not do the appropriate marketing, your advertising campaign will not yield any meaningful results. You spend money and get poops in return. You don't want that. And conversely, if you do really good ad marketing and you spend the time, you get the research, you get the information, and you get everything that you need, and then you don't do any kind of advertising, you would have just wasted all of that effort. So, as a consultant, I'm panicked anytime a client comes in and say to me, well, I don't advertise my business, my business running by word of mouth. Like, really? In this day and age? I mean, could you be leaving any more money on the table? You are just leaving money on the table. If you're into business, you must sincerely appreciate that the survival, the sustainability, and the profitability of your business is dependent on you being able to feed that business new customers every single day. And if you are depending on somebody to share with somebody about your business, you are not going to have a constant stream of new customers on a daily basis. So you are going to be missing a lot of opportunities because people don't know you exist. So we need to understand in terms of the mind of the buyer, or what we call the buying cycle. Persons have to first be aware that you exist. You can't start the process of a sale without people being aware that you exist. So your advertising or your marketing promotions and your communication strategy is all about letting people know that you exist, and as many people as possible, because of course, not everybody will purchase from you at the same time. Then, once people know that you exist, then what has happened? I wonder where they come from. Who's the people behind that business? I wonder what they're selling. I wonder if it's good. I wonder who do business with them before. What were their experience like? So they now start to determine, can we really trust these people? Are they going to deliver what they say they're going to deliver? Are they really good as they say? Because everybody say they're good. But are they as good as they say they are? Yes. So you start to question whether or not you can trust right? And of course, if you have good marketing, your good marketing will know that people are they are going to question in terms of trust. So you have to now have a communication strategy that will feed them the information that will help them know or help them find the information that will tell them why they can trust your business and what's your track record. And then once they think, well, all right, I can trust them now, all of a sudden they go and check what everybody else is going to offer. So you wasn't studying that all the time, but all of a sudden, Business Lifeline tell you about good marketing, and you go in and see, well, I wonder who else offering marketing packages and what their prices are. So you now start to compare one value versus the other, right? So again, as a business person, you have to ensure that your communication facilitates to allow people to understand the value that you bring to the table. If you are not telling them the value that you bring to the table, don't expect them to work hard to figure it out themselves, because you are the one that wants them to spend the money. So that's your responsibility. So your marketing must address every aspect of the buying cycle, which is the awareness, the trust, and the value, right? So I'm seeing some questions. I'm glad. So I'm going to get to your questions. So if you want to do good marketing, and we want to look at this marketing process here, how can I get the best value? First things first, I'm sure you've heard it a million times today. You have to establish your objective. You cannot achieve something without knowing exactly what it is you are setting out to achieve, right? So you want to establish your marketing objectives, and there are different types of marketing objectives that you may have. So, for example, you may decide, listen, I want to establish. So if you're a startup business, you want to establish and start increasing your customer base. So you want to get as many new people coming on as possible, right? So you may set and decide, listen, I want to have 50 or 100 new customers in 6 months, right? That may be one of your objectives, one of your targets. You may decide another possible objective that you want to increase the product sales per customer. So you have a certain amount of customers now, so you establish business, and you may have about, let's say you have 250 customers now, and you decide, I want these 200, and I'm not pushing so much to get more people, but I want these 250 people that I already have to spend more money. So how do I get them to buy more products? So, when you go to the grocery, all of a sudden they bundle up two products together and give you at a good price, and you're thinking, oh gosh, yeah, it's better I take the two because, it's a good deal. That's a good way of increasing product sales per customer, right? Of course, another objective may be increasing the sales of more expensive, high margin products per customer. So you want to get your customers to spend the money on the things that have the higher markup for you. So again, you may bundle it, you may put some sort of promotion where you give them something free if they take the higher price item. You give them trials, free trials, depending on what type of business it is that you're doing. You give them a taster session or something like that, so that people establish and they know the value that they're getting, and you can now achieve the objective that you set out, right? Don't worry, guys. I am coming to your questions, so just keep putting your questions there, and I'm going to come back definitely to it. Right? Now, step number 2 is identifying your target market. Now, let's look at this real simple, right? We're all adults here. And I am sure at some stage in your development, you saw a significant other that you really wanted to develop a relationship with. What is the first thing that you do? One person, anybody, just tell me what's the first thing that you do when you set sight on this person that you made your heart go flutter, 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 and you wanted to start some form of relationship with them. What's the first thing that you used to? Anybody? I feel I have to offer a special prize for anybody who can give me the answer to this one. Wow, you guys are being very shy here. Nigel say introduce himself. Nigel real bowler, but Nigel and Brian say, listen, we got to introduce yourself here. We skipping preliminaries. But I'm going to ask both Nigel and Brian, before you introduce yourself, you don't try to find out as much possible information you could find about this person. You must have some friend or somebody who know the person. So before you introduce yourself, at the risk of getting out there, exactly, Nicholas is the guy who win the prize today now. You're going to find out where they're from, what they're about, anybody who know them, what they like, and all these kind of things, because you don't want to run the risk of jumping out yourself like Nigel and Brian. Yes, I sure you know the thing. Yes, you don't want to run the risk that you jump out of yourself. And Brian trying to defend himself now. And you embarrass yourself or you lose the opportunity because you did something that the person like and you really don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So sometimes for us to make that really wow positive first impression, we spend the time to get as much information about the person before we approach them. And that's what marketing does in the context of business. So it allows you to get all the information you need about your target market, right, before you approach them so that you have the best possible chance of success in terms of converting them. A very, very important concept for you to understand, right? So marketing uses demographic markers to identify and quantify the target market. A lot of people don't understand how to quantify the target market. And one of the challenges that you run into by not knowing the potential size of your target market is that you invest a lot of money, you get things going in terms of your business, and then there isn't enough people to generate the level of income to make the business meaningful, viable, or profitable, and then your business busts like a peawa. Now, that's not what you want to happen. When, if you had done the appropriate market research before getting into the business, you would have kind of known that, it don't have enough demand. So it may have demand, but it doesn't have enough demand or what you needed to tweak and change so that you could have ensured that there was sufficient demand for you to be successful in that particular business, right? Of course, it helps you to identify your position in the market. So you're going to know who are all the other suitors. Yeah, so you find out all the other partners that did like this girl and, they try and they didn't get through. So you start to get all of that information up front. And of course, you kind of figure out what it is they do so you know you ain't going to try to do that again, right? Much the same with your target market. You want to know what's your position, what's your size in the market versus the size of the entire market. Who are your competitors? So how many other people there are in the market, what it is they're offering, what are they doing versus what you can offer or what you can do, right? Those are the questions that good marketing will answer for you. And for those of you who are in the startup process, if you haven't started already, and even if you have started, this kind of vital information some insights into your hands that will allow you to really take your business to the next level. So if you want to try a thing, I mean, you can approach and start without it. But I'm saying if you want to take your results to the complete next level, then certainly what you need to do is to ensure that you get some proper market research, get the support of someone who's qualified in marketing so that you get real results and not guesstimations and dreams and hopes before you spend your money and lose it. Because statistically, more businesses fail than businesses succeed. And they're not failing because they were horrible business people and they didn't want to be successful, or they were lazy and they didn't work hard enough. A lot of businesses fail because they had a lack of knowledge. So you need to understand the importance of having that information and that knowledge that will put you at an advantage in terms of being able to succeed in your business, right? Lovely. The next step is to qualify your objective, right? So marketing, like I was saying to you just now, will help you to determine whether or not there's sufficient demand on the market to achieve the particular financial objective that you have for the business, right? So essentially, it's not just about whether people have a desire. Desire is not the only aspect of demand. And demand is, or desire alone, is not any kind of meaningful demand. So right now, or for the past couple of years, I have had a strong desire for Audi Q7. As a matter of fact, I think some of my ex-employees made a contribution to my BMW fund. They gave me a card with all about 25 or some coins stuck inside of it because they wanted to make a contribution to my Q7 fund. I was very appreciative of them for that, right? But I didn't get the Q7 yet. Now I have a strong desire for it. But at this point in time, I do not have the willingness or the ability to spend money on it, right? So you have to, for the Audi company, I am not a real customer or any kind of real demand, because even though I desire the product, I can't purchase the product at this point in time. So I am not the potential customer that they are looking for, right? And it's much the same with any product or service that you may offer. There are lots of people out there who may have a desire for it, but that desire may not be backed by the willingness or the ability to pay for it, right? I hope that concept is clear and we understand that, right? Step number 4, marketing will help you to select the appropriate advertising medium. Now, there's something that sometimes people do not understand about advertising. Not all advertising is the right advertising for you. You have to know who is your target market and which of these particular advertising media are the or is the best media in order to speak to them, right? So let's look at traditional advertising. And of course, traditional advertising is in somewhat of a decline, right? So when we think about the newspaper, I want you to just chat me very quickly. When you think about the newspaper, approximately what age people still buy a physical newspaper? Does everybody read the newspaper? Physical one. Any thoughts on that? So let me share my thoughts while you chatting your responses. In terms of the physical newspapers, if you think about it, most younger middle-aged people now read their news online. So Janice may be very accurate there. I'd say 50 plus. I'm not too sure even about the 40s. A lot of the persons in their 40s tend to read the news online. But previously, maybe 10 years ago or so, just about everybody will stop on their way to work or, and get a printed newspaper. That was part of the tradition. But now, with the changes and that movement online, people are getting news as it happened. So by the time it's printed in the newspaper to begin with, it's old news because people get all that information while it was happening. In some cases, you could see a live video while it's happening. So you don't have to wait for the news report the next day to know what had happened because you saw it while it was happening. So that has changed the dynamics a lot. And of course, that has significantly reduced the demand or the usership of newspapers. So, of course, if you are advertising your business and your product or service is for somebody in their 20s, you're catering for people 25 to 45 years of age, those are the people who are most likely to be interested in your product. The newspaper, as in the printed newspaper, may not be the best mechanism for you to communicate with them because they're not there. But if you have a product for people who are in the higher age demographic, then certainly the newspaper would be a good place to catch their attention because you know they are most likely to read it. Now, in Trinidad, we have over 30 something radio stations. So radio is a good way still of communicating, but the challenge that you're going to have with radio, if you do not have a very large budget, it may be difficult for you to reach a wide cross section of your target market. So, for example, there are maybe 6, 8 urban news urban radio stations that would cater to the 25 to 45 demographic. If you do not have money to stretch over all of them, and we know that you pay a couple $100 for a 30-second spot, it will become a little bit counterproductive for you. You may not necessarily reach the widest audience trying to use radio if you don't have a larger budget, right? And of course, TV now has, I think, suffered the greatest decline because generally speaking, the viewership of local TV has gone to a very much all-time low. Why? People are into Netflix, they into video on demand. Worst case scenario, it'd actually be considered a dinosaur at this stage if you were still watching cable, right? Much less for local TV. So whilst there's still a demand in terms of local TV, because traditionally some people still come back for the news, and like I said, it's mostly the older demographic that tends to come back to look at the news and stuff like that. If you're catering to a younger market of potential customers, TV may be expensive and may not be most effective at reaching that demographic. But if you are seeking to get an older crowd, if you're seeking to get a more professional crowd, sometimes depending on what segment or time of day, TV may offer you a good alternative. In terms of traditional advertising, though, in some cases, flyers, brochures, and call cards are still somewhat effective. So they have not declined as sharply as the other types of traditional advertising, right? But of course, the big kahuna now is social media. Now, while social media offers a huge amount of advantages, and I mean a huge number of advantages, because social media provides you with data that no other form of advertising can provide for you, right? Social media allows you to target your customers with laser focus. So, persons on the internet, everything that you do on the internet is tracked. So if you are accustomed going and visit sites that sell shoes, that is tracked. So if I am a shoe salesperson, I can literally target my ad to people who already show an interest in purchasing shoes. You can't do that on radio. You can't do that on TV. You can't do that in the newspapers or anywhere else but social media. That is the kind of power that social media give to advertisers if they know what they are doing. And I stress on if they know what they're doing, because a lot of people get tricked in terms of social media advertising and management because they don't know what to look for or what to ask, right? So just about every graphic designer or any person who spends a lot of time on social media would come and say to you, I can manage your social media for you. You have a lot of those people out there offering to manage your social media. But again, they have no appreciation or training in marketing. So they have no idea how to properly target your ads. So in a lot of cases, people spend money on ads that go to everybody in Trinidad and Tobago. That is an absolute waste of your money, because there's no way that everybody in Trinidad and Tobago is going to be interested in your particular product or service. So you are just throwing money down the drain, right? It's not going to be very effective at all. And then there are some people who may say, well, we targeted to all people in Trinidad and Tobago between a particular age. Whilst that is better than sending it to everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, again, it's still not very effective if you're not putting in other demographic markers that would allow the social media platform to really put your message in front of people who are most likely to respond to it, right? So if you want to get proper results, you need to ensure, well, option number one, you come to Business Lifeline, or if that option is not available to you, you want to make sure that whoever is handling your social media understands marketing, effective marketing, and they know how to target your ads properly so that you do not lose money, right? And ground activations, these are interactions that you can actually do with customers, that they get a first-hand feel of doing business with you. So, for example, you go into PriceSmart and on every lane they have samplings that they would do. You have some companies that will come out and do promotions in different places in the mall and that kind of thing. So you have an opportunity to interact with the business. They'll do little giveaways and stuff like that, so that they can kind of get your interest going, get you to sample their products and stuff like that, so that you can start doing business with them, right? So there's this little company in Grand Bazaar's food court, for example, that sells interesting meals that are not traditional Trini meals. And they would stop everybody that's passing and offer them samples. And even if you did come to purchase from them, they're going to give you, after you've selected your meal, they're going to give you samples of something else to go with your meal. Again, to get your interest in there. That's very, very effective marketing. It worked because every time I go to Grand Bazaar, I go and I get lunch from them, right? So ground activations are a very good way for you to actually bring new customers on board and be able to grow your business. Another key thing that you need to note is that there is no one effective marketing media. There's no way that everybody in your target market is going to use one media. So, as popular as social media is, for example, if you are targeting professionals, you're probably not going to find them very active on social media. So they will have a social media presence, but depending on the demand of their day-to-day lives, they don't have time to spend a lot of time on social media. So there's a lot of content on social media that's ticking over every couple seconds. So they are very likely to miss it because it may not be until late in the evening, sometimes in the night, that they check their social media. By that time, they're tired. They don't, spend a lot of time on social media. So don't ever go away with the thought that once you advertise on social media, you'll find everybody, because that's not accurate. So in marketing, it's always recommended that you use what is called an integrated marketing approach, where you combine a number of advertising media to give you the best possible opportunity of reaching the widest cross section of your target market, right? Step number 5. You want to ensure that you are creating compelling marketing messages. And of course, I'm sharing some very valuable information here for you. You may want to take note of this, because poorly structured marketing messages is as good as not putting any message at all. It's not going to resonate with your audience. And if you say it and nobody listens to it, it's best you really didn't say it, right? So when you're structuring your marketing messages, the first and most important thing in terms of your marketing message is your headline. The first thing that people see, that is going to determine if they see anything else, right? So that headline, that first thing must hit them boom, boom, very quickly. It must address a fear or a problem that is important to them. Otherwise, they're going to keep scrolling. Yeah? It didn't resonate with me. I'm going to keep going. So that first sentence must come straight to the point. What is it that I have a problem with, or something that's important to me that you could fix? And you need to tell me one time what it is. Clearly identify the problem. And in your very next sentence, you had better identify the solution that you're offering. Yes? Belly biting, get the best tasting cuisine at Nicole's whatever shop, right? So you address my problem because I didn't have lunch and my stomach biting. So I could identify with that very quickly. Hey, how somebody know I'm hungry here? And you state very clearly what it is you're offering that's going to fix my belly biting problem, right? And of course, after that, you could put in all the fluff. State the benefits of your product and service, why it's the best, any additional, so free delivery or fast delivery, you can pay online or whatever other options. All those things come after the fact, but you got to grab my attention. You have to give me value, and then anything else could come after that, right? So your headline, your engagement is where you state your solution. You give persons a reason to purchase any additional support that your business offers. If you have an offer, a bonus, anything like that. And then you end your marketing message by restating the benefits of doing business with you or purchasing your product or service. Step number 6 is to maintain consistency. Another reason why people get really piss poor marketing results is because they're not consistent. So I tried, I spent money for 2 months and I didn't see a increase of $1 million in sales. That not working. So I stopped. And then when I realized, oh my gosh, um, I'm not even getting any calls now. It's even worse than before. So you decide, listen, I want to start back. But then you start back in a worse position than you were when you started the first time. Because when people see you today and they don't see you tomorrow, what does that do? It makes them worry how consistent you are. I ain't too sure I could trust you because you're here today, go on tomorrow. So I don't want to take no chance that I start to do business with you and then you drop off the scenes. So it is going to impact people as it relates to trusting your business. Consistency is very, very, very key to you building trust in the market. So don't just give up and decide, well, no, I'm not going to do it now. I got enough last month. I ain't pushing this month. That is not a very good strategy for growing your business. Marketing is something that's like breathing. You have to do it consistently. Look at Coca-Cola. It's one of the biggest brands in the world. Yeah. Millions of billions of dollars that they make. But do they ever stop their advertising? Do they reduce their advertising? Never, because you won't start driving your car and stop putting gas. Yes? So you want to ensure that you're focusing on maintaining consistency in terms of your advertising. Step number 7, which is that you need to review and make the necessary adjustments, right? So don't stop. Always check your data, keep reviewing your data. And of course, in reviewing your data, you're going to be able to determine whether or not you need to make changes to improve those results and how you can take it to the next level. So I just want to give you all just a few examples as we look at good and bad marketing messages. Of course, you can look at this image and it's clean, it's clear, it's straight to the point as to what this particular client is offering. So the picture gives a very, very clear indication of what the product is. There isn't much written stuff. There's the logo and then just this writing here on the book. Now, this is an example of an effective ad, and I'll tell you why it's considered effective. It is considered effective because a picture tells 1,000 words. You cannot put 1,000 words on the image because people do not like to read. So the more words that they see, is the less likely that they are going to read the message. They're going to keep going, right? So the more you have to find more ways of being able to communicate, but using less words. So this was a good example of doing that. This, on the other hand, not such a good example. I mean, this was wrong for so many reasons. Um, of course, it doesn't have a very clear headline, so we don't know exactly what product or service is being offered. That the headline has nothing to do with the product that was eventually being offered. Of course, it's the imagery is really poor. So you're seeing distribution stress here, but then you're seeing a spa-like picture, and then tons of writing, different colors, different font size, different fonts. Um, all of these things hit the brain and say, busy, 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 warning, warning, I'm not going to read this, right? So you want to ensure that this is not the kind of communication that you put out for your business You want to take the time to make sure that when you craft your messages, you craft it with your audience in mind and not just with what you want to say to them. So all of this stuff in terms of what is on the image really should have been in the caption. You get the person's attention with the image, and then they will go and read the caption if they want to get additional information. But if you try to put all the information out there, it's not going to give you good results, right? And just on a little sneak peek in terms of a little tip that I want to give you guys, really and truly, you don't want to put all the information out there. If you put all the information out there, your potential customers can make a decision without ever giving you the chance to convince them otherwise. So it's always good to put just enough information to get somebody's attention, to get them to have a further discussion with you, right? So something to think about. Again, I'm going to show you this one, and I'm going to show you, this one. These two images are selling the same product. But this one, again, very busy, lots of writing, really poor imagery, a ridiculous headline. Nobody looks for cozy workspace. You may look for cozy rooms in terms of a bedroom, but you don't look for cozy workspace. So that was a very unfortunate thing. And if you look at the images, these look like teenagers in a coffee shop. This don't look like someone who's looking for a workspace. So you're offering meeting rooms and printing and private desks. All of these things are things that would normally be of interest to a professional, but it's being offered. But the image that you use is that of a teenager. Professionals are not going to associate with that image, so they're not going to stop. They're not going to think it's something for them. And then even if they did stop, they'd probably be very concerned about somewhere that's offering a cozy workspace. Yeah, that's going to be a very, very confusing. And then you have all these different colors and fonts and stuff. Very, 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 very busy image. But same product, different company, and again, no set of words. Productive environment, making things happen. Very, very clear, and all the other information that you needed to have was in the caption. So for someone who's a professional looking for a space, this is by far more likely to capture their attention than would have the initial or the one prior, right? So you want to make sure that you can tell your stories effectively in terms of your marketing communications without being busy, without being rude or loud. Know how to use your colors and your imagery. If that is not your area of expertise, please ensure that you get someone who knows about these things so that you don't end up wasting money and effort, right? Woo! Any questions? So let me see if we had some. I think we had some questions before. Any new questions, feel free. Stick your questions in now. So I'm just going back up. So Brian was asking if I can't do the upcoming 4-week business permutation. It's actually 8 weeks, Brian, not 4 weeks. So the business permutation program, that is one of our signature programs. For those of you who may not have heard about it, our business incubation, it's a business incubation program where we go through all the fundamental areas of business setup and operation. So if you think you got a lot of information in the last 2 sessions, think about having 8 of these sessions. We touch on a lot of things in terms of giving you the hands-on practical skills that you need to really be able to effectively manage your business and grow that business, right? So the next cycle begins on the 5th of October, and this would actually be the last cycle that's being offered for the year 2021, right? Now, the business permutation program, we do every quarter. So every quarter we would do a cycle of the program. So Brian, if unfortunately you are unable to make it for this particular cycle, we don't have the dates or anything as yet, but I'm certain that there will be a subsequent cycle. It just will not be this particular year, right? Of course, the program is offered online as well. You get a lot of resources really to help you in terms of the setup, the operations, the management of your business. So it is a very insightful and useful program. And on that note, I would probably just want to share a little testimonial with you guys from one of our past participants of the program, just so that you can hear what their version of it is, and I could get a little drink of water. Yeah, so let me just share that with you now.
Smith, Managing Director of Subtle Oil and Gas Solutions. We are an inflatable and chemical service company, and today I want to thank Business Lifeline for giving me the tools and the necessary knowledge to be able to function in this dynamic environment. Being an entrepreneur is, as we know, is very challenging, and through the guidance of Business Lifeline, I'm now able to focus and make my dream come true a reality. Thank you to Business Lifeline.
Yes, I'm while chatting away and I'm on mute. So I want to thank Stan, of course, for that couple minutes. He is one of your Southern citizens as well. So if you're from South, you may know Stan and his business. But of course, we have worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs at this stage in terms of growing their business, and we have always had resoundingly good feedback in terms of the program and what people were able to achieve after attending the program. Like I said, it's very much practical focus. So after every session, there's something that you are able to go back and revise in your business, and of course share what the results were with the program, right? So let me see in terms of question. What if someone you meet randomly doesn't know anything? Oh, okay. That was the other question you were responding to. Right? Guys, any other questions before we wrap up today's session? Is there anything else that you would like to ask from the marketing aspect? So I'm just going to give a couple seconds again. If you have anything that you would like to ask while I'm waiting for persons to type their questions in. I would also want to encourage you. Of course, we have a very vibrant coaching and mentorship program. That's something that you can also consider if you're not able to directly participate in the business permutation program. So with the coaching and mentorship, the advantage is that you get one-on-one support that's structured and tailored specifically to your business. Of course, the business permutation program will give you a wider insight, but if you need that kind of support that's tailored, that hand-holding, directly relating to your business, then the coaching and mentorship program can be highly effective for you. In terms of all of the participants on the program today, you can also look out for an email from us. Once you were registered for the program beforehand, you will get an email from us with a voucher that would allow you or afford you a 10% discount on any of Business Lifeline services. So that you can capitalize on that and get your services going, right? Thank you very much, Jalan, for the feedback. She shared that it was very informative, useful information, and I am glad for the privilege of being able to help you to broaden the way that you're thinking as it relates to becoming a successful business owner. So definitely that is some really good feedback, right? Guys, I just want to share with you, if there's one thing that I want you to remember, you invest heavily in your business, not just the money that you invest in your business, but the time, the sacrifice, your family, and everything that goes into your business. You don't want to do that to be unsuccessful. You want to make sure that you have access to the information and the expertise that will make it all worthwhile. So, sometimes people think, oh my gosh, but these things cost so much money. And I would want to, say to you, think of what you would lose as compared to how much it costs you to get the tools that you need in order to be successful. So you have so much more that you will gain by having the right support as compared to you're going cheap and then you're knocking all around by trial and error and really not achieving any kind of success. You would have gained nothing. Yeah, so something to think about. Brian says, just like to say thanks to Mr. Kennedy, of course, and Business Lifeline for this great eye-opening course. Also, I'd like to say how happy I am to see all the participants. I think we all learned a lot. Well, if you agree with Brian, be sure to give us a thumbs up on the video. And guys, I really want to remind you, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We always put out content so that you can find other videos on different topics that would provide you with some useful information. And of course, you want to be in line if we have any good programs, any free webinars, or anything that we're broadcasting live in the future, that you can also be a part of it. Of course, I don't want you guys to be shy at all. So if you want to reach out to us, our office line is actually giving us some trouble right now. But you can reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. You can get us on WhatsApp, or you can call at 329 4237. And like I said, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're here on YouTube. So feel free to share your comments, your feedback, any questions that you have. Our team is very, very responsive. And of course, if you need support in any of the areas, when you think Business Lifeline first. Yes. So it was indeed a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to share this time with you this evening. I really want to thank you guys for being on board, for your participation, your questions and everything. Of course, I'm just going to give a minute again if anybody has anything that they want to ask before we close off, or if not, you can feel free to contact us directly. One of the things that I also wanted to share with you guys, Business Lifeline has a step-by-step business planning guide that was really designed for an entrepreneur who may not necessarily have any experience in terms of business training, right? So this step-by-step guide helps you to break down all of the areas that you need to plan for, and makes it very, very, very simple that anybody would be able to kind of put it together and understand and be able to build a proper strategic plan for the business, even if you don't have all the know-how as it relates to building these things. So that is also something that's available to you, a product that is available to you as a courtesy, again, to the MP for Point Fortin, Mr. Kennedy Richards Jr. If you are interested in having a copy of the business planning guide, which is very, very useful, we are offering it at a discounted cost to all participants. So you can always reach out to us and you will get it at a significant discount. compared to the regular pricing in terms of the business planning guide. And that is something that you can use that will help you in terms of making sure that you're looking at all the important aspects of your business and really getting the level of efficiency and profitability that will allow you to be successful in this endeavor. So on behalf of the Business Lifeline team, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us here today. Check us out online. Just look for Business Lifeline and hope to see or talk to you guys at some stage in the future again. Thank you very much to everybody. And of course, let's big up MP Kennedy Richards for making this all possible. Thank you very much, Carissa, for the feedback. Awesome. Yes, the video will be available for you to look at it, so you can always come back and review the information if you need to. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful day from Business Lifeline Limited. Yay.